anybody else wake up with raccoon eyes when they think the night before they did a stellar job of taking off their eye makeup? Alright, you guys, it's October 27th today. I'm gonna officially start my new series, which is my off-season bikini prep, and why not a better day to start off by giving you guys a physique update as well as a tutorial of how to actually take your body circumference measurements. I think a lot of people struggle to take their body circumference measurements and they don't do it, and therefore they just rely on the scale, which I think the scale is an accurate way to measure your physique progress, but if that's your sole indicator of progress, you're gonna be very disappointed. You don't wanna just strictly rely on the scale when you're trying to change your physique. Even if you're not prepping for a bodybuilding show, you're just trying to slim down, or maybe you're trying to put on lean body mass, whatever your goals may be, taking body measurements is an excellent indicator of how you're progressing. Other indicators of progress that you wanna be aware of is progress pictures, how you're looking in the mirror. Are your clothes fitting better? Are you getting compliments from your friends and family? Because in all honesty, they're not obsessing about how you look like you are. So listen to those other indicators. Relying solely just on the scale, it's just going to lead to disappointment, frustration, discouragement, and you're likely going to just quit. So I'm just wearing Calvin Klein. I figured that's most appropriate for taking measurements. If you can, you want to try to take these in the nude or in as little as clothing as possible. You want to make sure that you are consistent with this every single week. So if you consistently measure yourself in the nude, don't measure yourself in this the following week. If you measure yourself in this one week, make sure you measure yourself in this remaining in the future. You also want to ensure that you are measuring at the same time. Be as consistent as possible. So if you measure yourself on Sunday mornings, make sure that go to the washroom first, don't drink or eat anything, so you have an empty tummy when you're doing your measurements. If you find that you ate more the previous day than you normally do, maybe you binged or you went out for something, you had higher sodium, higher carbs, whatever is going to cause water retention, don't do measurements that day. Do it the following day. Give your body some time to not be so bloated from the glycogen storage. So context is key, and this will allow you to kind of take the emotion out of taking your measurements, because if your measurements go up maybe half an inch during the week and you're not paying attention to, maybe you ate more, maybe you binged, maybe you weren't on point with your macros, and that might be why it is going up. You got to pay attention to that. Context is key. All right, so I have 5 areas of my body that I like to measure. I'll start with my arm, my chest, my waist, my hips, also known as your butt, and your thighs. I kind of stopped measuring my calves. You can continue to measure your calves if you want, if you are trying to grow them, but I have discovered that my calves just don't grow, so I don't even bother to measure them, and in all honesty, that's not my main goal when I'm trying to change my physique, so I don't make that extra effort to measure my calves. You can measure more, you can measure less, but if you are going to measure anything at a minimum, especially if you're behind or you're strapped on time, at least measure your waist and your hips, because especially us women, we hold most of our fat, so seeing positive changes there is going to be a good indicator of progress alone. Let's start off with your arm. I like to measure my left arm. It doesn't really matter. You can measure both if you want, but again, just be consistent with what you're doing. Don't measure your left arm one week and then measure your right arm the next week and be like, what the hell, why did my measurements go up? You got to be consistent with what you're doing. So I measure my left arm, and I do my measurements every 2 weeks. When you're starting out measuring your arms, you want to try to find the most meatiest part. So I typically find it in the middle to be my most meatiest part of my arm. So I'll try to measure the exact same spot every single week. If you are struggling to find that spot for yourself, try to find a birthmark, maybe a scar or a mole, so you can ensure that you're measuring the exact same spot consistently every single week if you're unable to determine maybe where the middle part of your arm is. Next, we're gonna move on to chest. For chest, you want to try and get, again, the most meatiest part. So this is typically just around the middle part of your chest. So just make sure that you are just around the middle of your chest. This can be just around the nipple, just to ensure that, again, that you are measuring the exact same spot every single week. And then moving on to your waist. For your waist, this is the only spot where you want to try to find the most narrowest part to measure. So if you're looking in a mirror, you can typically kind of see where the most narrowest part is. For me, you can tell it's just above the belly button. So that's how I ensure that I am measuring the exact same spot every week. If you find that this is difficult for you to determine where the most narrowest spot is, just go over top of your belly button. Your belly button's not going anywhere, so this will help you make sure that you are measuring consistently. And then we're moving on to our hips, also known as our glutes. For this one, you want to try to get right in the middle of your glutes. So I like standing to the side when you're looking in the mirror to make sure that you are getting right in the middle of your glutes when you are measuring this area. So again, the most meatiest part of that area you want to try to measure around. When you are measuring, I get asked a lot how you should place your feet. You can either have them shoulder width distance or you can have them together. Again, just make sure you are consistent with how you are standing when you are measuring these areas. Last area is going to be your thigh. Again, the most meatiest part, so mine's a little bit higher when I'm measuring my thigh. I actually have a birthmark on my leg that allows me to make sure that I am measuring in the exact same area. So make sure again that you are measuring the same leg week to week. If you want to measure both, that's totally okay. Just again, make sure it's nice and consistent every single week that you are doing your measurements, or every 2 weeks. Whenever you decide that you want to do your measurements, just make sure you're always consistent. I can't stress that enough, that is the most important thing when you are doing your measurements. All right, guys, I hope that was helpful. Time to go get dressed. So it's about 10:30. I'm gonna have some breakfast. Got some toast with cream cheese, 20 carbs, 43 fat, 15 protein, and some black coffee. So I just finished up doing some emails and responding to some Facebook messages. For anybody who watches my videos, if you send me a Facebook message, I honestly don't mind, but if you're looking for a quicker response, I highly recommend that you email me versus sending me a Facebook message, Krysten@thenattyhour.com. I check my email multiple times a day. When I go on Facebook, I honestly go on it for business purposes, to post my content, interact with my clients, and that's about it. I don't go on it for a personal aspect, maybe the odd animal video here or there, animal activist video, but I don't really go on to like socialize or anything like that. So thanks for your patience to those who messaged me on Facebook. So I'm gonna go to the gym right now. I'm gonna go do some glutes. Sorry, in advance, I apologize. This series is gonna consist of a lot of booty work, so I'm going to keep it as interesting as possible. Don't get me wrong though, upper body is just as important for bikini girls, so I'm going to try to focus on more upper body workouts as well. For my next video, I am going to do a Daniel and Bailey inspired shoulder day, so that'll be a good one. But for today's video for glutes, I am going to go focus on more accessory based exercises. I really do believe that my glute gains have come from squatting and doing barbell hip thrusts a ton, but those are major compound movements and not everybody always has time to do them, so there are other alternatives, and I'm going to show you guys some of them today. So let's get it.
Walk like I built this town, steps so light, I barely touch the ground. Everybody wants to know how. Brick by brick, I put them in the ground. Walk like I built, walk like I built this. I do it for my people, family business, and everybody wants to know how. Take a good look, you are now witness. Wake up, it's a brand new day, I gotta
solid bun though. It did the trick. Alright guys, just finished up the glute workout. And I did a little bit of bikini posing afterwards. I've been really excited to get back into posing, only because my federation added in quarter turns after my competition last year, and I just wanted to get a jump start on practicing for that because I haven't practiced with that yet. And I didn't do any posing during my powerlifting meet because bikini posing just kills your back. So for the glute workout, let's quickly go over what I did. First exercise, I just did a glute emphasized back extension. You have the ability to emphasize your glutes when you're doing a back extension by rolling your shoulders forward. So that's why you see that my shoulders are rolled forward and that there's kind of like a hunch in my back that allows me to activate my glutes so that I am pulling with my glutes versus my lower back. You will still feel it a little bit in your lower back, but not as much. So make sure you are squeezing the booty. Next one, for the life of me, I can't remember the name of this exercise. It's, I don't know, like a reverse back extension, but these ones are awesome. I just do them on the back extension machine the opposite way. Make sure that you are squeezing with your glutes. I can't emphasize that enough. Whenever you're doing any type of glute work, make sure you're squeezing with your glutes because it is very easy to swing your legs in order to get them to go up and you're not activating your glutes at all. So that's why they're pretty slow and controlled. Next one, cable glute kickbacks. For these, you want to have your torso parallel to the ground. And when you are kicking back, make sure you are kicking back through your heel by being bent over as far as I am when your torso is completely parallel to the ground, and by kicking back through your heels, you're gonna get an optimal activation in your glutes that way. Next one we have our cable hip abductions. These ones are awesome. They just work the sides of your glutes like crazy. I can only do like maybe 10 or 15 pounds here. Next one we have our barbell Romanian deadlifts. I get asked quite a bit what's the difference between Romanian deadlifts and stiff-legged deadlifts. Well, Romanian deadlifts, as you can see, I have a slight bend in my knees, and by driving my hips back, I'm just going to be activating my glutes a little bit more. If my legs were to be straight, like what you would do for a stiff-legged deadlifts, you're taking the activation out of your glutes more and focusing more on your hamstrings. Not one is better than the other, just depends on what you're working on that day. So if you were trying to emphasize your hamstrings a little bit more, then I would recommend a stiff-legged deadlift. But since this is a glute day, I want to emphasize the glutes, we're going to do a Romanian deadlift. And then the last one, I haven't done these ones since like maybe I started lifting. I think these were like in Jamie Eason's program back in the day. But these ones are the weighted quadruped single leg kickbacks. Same thing that I did for my warm-up routine with a body weight quadruped kickback, but for this we're going to throw a dumbbell on the back of your knee and really control the kickback so the dumbbell doesn't move, and to ensure that when you are kicking back that you are activating your glutes. I wrap a towel around the dumbbell just because of the back of my knee. It gets a little bit sore if I was just to rest the dumbbell by itself back there. So by wrapping the towel on it, you just kind of protect it a little bit more and reduce some wear and tear. But these ones are amazing. Damn, definitely recommend throwing those into the mix. So now I'm gonna go eat, and then I'm going back to the gym to train a client for a one-on-one session, and then I'm gonna get to editing this video. So I think that's probably long enough, you guys. I'm gonna end the video right here. Hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of my off-season bikini prep. I'm super excited, you guys. I'm feeling really excited to start the prep for this year. I like getting a jump start on things. It keeps me motivated, keeps me focused, and yeah, I'm excited. So thanks for following along for the ride, you guys. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video.